Welcome to my channel. This is the terrifying story of the doll with real eyes. There was an antique shop in a small town that had a porcelain doll in its window. The doll was beautiful, but there was something creepy about her. People said that if you weren't careful, she would blink when you weren't looking at her.
Ho, ho, ho!
But if you turned away and looked back, her eyes would be empty and lifeless once more. It was just a rumor, a local legend that people liked to tell to scare children with. But one day a collector decided to put the legend to the test. He went into the shop and asked the owner if he could buy the doll.
Ho, ho, ho!
The old man said yes, and warned him about what might happen if he brought the doll home. But the collector wasn't scared. He was excited to have a piece of local folklore in his collection. He brought the doll home that night and set her up on a shelf in his bedroom, facing away from his bed. He then turned off the lights and went to sleep.
Ho, ho, ho!
The next morning, he woke up and turned on the lights to see the doll still sitting on the shelf, seemingly motionless. But when he walked closer, he noticed something disturbing. The doll's eyes, which were a deep blue color, weren't painted on. They were real, and they seemed to be staring right at him. He tried to convince himself that it was a trick of the light or maybe the angle of the sun.
Ho, ho, ho!
But he couldn't help but feel like the doll was watching him. So he did the only logical thing he could think of. He set up a camera to film the doll while he slept. And that night he went to sleep with the camera rolling. The next morning he woke up and checked the camera.
Ho, ho, ho!
The footage showed nothing out of the ordinary until the very end when, for a split second, the doll was seen standing on her own and walking towards the camera. Before he could investigate further, the video ended. He decided to do it one more night. And that night he went to sleep with the camera rolling. The next morning he woke up and checked the camera.
Ho, ho, ho!
The doll was standing on her own again, but this time she was watching him sleep, and that's when he vanished. The police found his car in the parking lot of the antique store, and his body nowhere to be seen. But the most disturbing thing was that the doll's eyes, which were blue the first night, were now brown.
Ho, ho, ho!